Okay, today we are playing a game on Oasis. We are in the Gold SR range, and we will be playing the first round as Pharah before changing to Mei for the rest of the game. Our current team composition, I forgot to write it down, so I guess I don't care what it is today. Would a more professional individual stop the video, write it down, and then start again? Yes, that's exactly what they would do, but that's not me. I'm not a professional individual, so whatever. So in the accompanying email, there are a couple of questions, and our friend also says that since we last saw one of their games, they have gone up almost 500 SR, so good job. That's a lot of SR. The questions are: my awareness, I tend to be a little slow on the uptake regarding the kill feed and whether or not my team is actually pushing. Any tips or tricks regarding that? I find it especially difficult as far as since my team is unlikely to just happen to be in my field of view. So this is something I always struggle to give like hard advice for, because it's basically about training yourself to look at the corner of the screen that it's in, or just notice it in your peripheral vision. And the advice, the only advice I've ever really figured out to give is, if you're like, you want to train yourself to like look at it, just like look at it every few seconds, or up in that corner of the screen to see if anything's going on. And if you're really struggling to do that, you can try setting up, there's a bunch of websites that do this. You can set up a metronome to tone every 5 seconds, for argument's sake. And then every time you hear it, you just like look around the screen, you know. Check where the kill feed is, check your ammo, check your health, just like look around to see if anything's going on. And then the theory is that eventually that will become habit and you won't have to actually consciously think about it anymore. One piece of advice I did see someone else giving, and I mean, I don't know if this helps because it doesn't really apply to me, is to try thinking of the kill feed as being like the rear view mirror in a car, and just kind of like keep an eye on it, essentially. I don't know how to drive, because Lord knows I'd kill absolutely fucking everybody. But, so that was a piece of advice I have seen. Try thinking of it as like a rear view mirror. And try like a metronome if you're like really struggling. But it's mostly just about training yourself to actually like look there or notice it in your peripheral vision. This is not really an issue I've ever had, because I've always just kind of been able to see it in my peripheral vision. So it's something I struggle to give advice for. That's about the best I've got for actually noticing the kill feed, though. It's basically about training yourself to look at it, which basically takes effort. It takes a lot of effort. Next question. Target prioritizations. I find I switch targets a lot, which sometimes means enemies get to live. I have problems picking between targets that threaten me, threaten others, or simply high-value targets like supports. I find it's most wasteful when I try to go for things that just go for things that threaten me, but I also find that I often can't count on my team to win a fight just because I get a pick or two before dying. So, particularly if you're playing someone like Pharah, you basically have to prioritize the person that's threatening you, because otherwise you don't get to do your job. Like, if they've got, like, a Widowmaker, you want to try and get rid of the Widowmaker as quickly as possible, which usually involves trying to sneak up on the Widowmaker. You pretty much have to kill the person that threatens you first, because if you don't kill the person that's threatening you, or at least, like, deal with them somehow, you don't necessarily have to kill somebody to deal with them. If you don't deal with the person that's threatening you, you don't get to do your job. So that creates an issue. And it's not like, if you kill the person that's threatening you, and if you're someone like Pharah, it's going to be like a Widowmaker, a Soldier, a McCree, that kind of thing. If you kill that person, that's a good person to remove from the game, because they're generally an inconvenience for many individuals. So, if you deal with the person that's like threatening you, it suddenly becomes so much easier to do the rest of your job. Like, if you can remove the Soldier, McCree, Widowmaker, whatever that's threatening you, then suddenly, shit, I don't have to be afraid of anything anymore. Now I can just fucking float over this Mercy and dunk on her, and what's she gonna do about it, right? So it's best, usually, not always, it is usually best to deal with the person that is threatening you first, because that just makes everything else easier for you, and if you don't deal with them, you don't get to do your job. So, if you don't deal with them, like, if you, like, trade a kill, like, kill a support and then trade your life for it, okay, you know, you can argue that's good enough, but, like, ideally, we get to kill more than one person and then trade our life for it, or, like, kill 2 people and trade our life for it. Ideally, we're still alive at the end of all of that, and if you can kill the person that's threatening you and then kill those 1 or 2 people, hey, you're still alive, so you get to continue doing other things, but you killed them as well. So, usually you want to prioritize the person that threatens you. That's not always the case. The exceptions would be like, sometimes it's worth trading your life for Zenyatta, because, like, if you can kill the Zenyatta before he can get his Transcendence off, then even if you die to make that happen, sometimes that's good enough. Like, if the rest of your team have, like, ultimates that they have their ultimates ready, but they're countered by Transcendence, sometimes, like, that's good enough. Trading your life to make sure he does, like, just, like, dropping down right next to him and barraging right next to his face or something like that. Sometimes that's good enough, but, like, typically we're looking for more than that. But that's, like, the kind of thing that's usually the exception. Speaking of death, I tend to try and avoid dying a lot, but I also stagger myself in the process every now and then. Tips on figuring out when you should just die faster versus pulling back. I've always had the problem where sometimes I see the kill feed screaming at me that the fight is lost, but no one retreats, so I hover between safety and dying with the team, which also results in me staggering myself. So the second part's easy. If your team is doing dumb shit, like, and they're gonna die for it, don't be afraid to just, like, let them die. Like, if you can't realistically do anything to save them, don't be afraid to just write them off as dead and leave them. Like, if the team is lost, if the fight is lost, but, like, 3 people are still trying to push into, like, 6 or 5 people, just let them die. Like, whatever, you know. Who gives a if they're gonna, like, you going in with them is unlikely to make a difference. If you think you can realistically save them or keep them alive, then by all means go for it, but, like, don't be afraid to just write people off as being dead. There are a lot of situations in this game where there's nothing you can do for people, and the best thing you can do is just, not my problem. You got yourself in that position, there's nothing I can do for you, I'm not going to come and die with you. This will sometimes lead to situations where, like, you could have won the fight, but you didn't because you removed yourself from the fight. But, like, if it looks like the fight has been lost, it will be correct most times to just remove yourself from the fight. Even if, like, if 3 people go in and die, whatever. If they ran into 6 people, what were they fucking expecting, right? Like, if you've lost the team fight, don't be afraid to, like, let the rest of them die. Because if you die with them, you just end up feeding them more ult charge, so it doesn't accomplish anything anyway. And maybe you get more ult charge in return as well, but, like, don't be afraid to write people off as being dead. So the dying faster versus getting out, there's so many things that'll affect this. It's like, basically you just have to weigh the odds of, like, how realistic do I think it is I get out of this alive? And if I don't think there's a particularly good chance of it, just, like, run into the enemy team or throw yourself off the cliff. The thing is, it's hard to set up, like, a rule for that one, really, because there are there are situations where you'll be, like, behind the entire enemy team, but you can still get out alive, right? And then there will be times when, like, you're very close to safety, but there's no chance you survive still. So it's difficult to set up a hard and fast rule for this. You basically have to, like, try and weigh the odds in your mind. Like, what are the odds I get away? If you're playing someone like Pharah and you're, like, behind the enemy team, chances of you getting out are relatively slim, because Pharah's not exactly the fastest person in the world. She does have 2 movement abilities, which makes her better than most, but, like, if you're on somewhere like Hanamura, and you're like, behind them, like, right next to their spawn, second checkpoint, like, you aren't getting out alive in all likelihood, just, like, throw yourself in the enemy team and die. You basically just have to weigh it in your mind. It's one of those things where, like, throwing yourself into the enemy team is unlikely to be entirely incorrect, if you've definitely lost the fight. Just, like, throwing yourself into the enemy team to die will often just be fine, especially if you're only, like, a squishy hero like Pharah. You're not really fading much ult charge, if any. And if you already lost the fight, like, they probably used ultimates anyway. So it's one of those things where, like, you'll give them some ult charge, but you definitely won't stagger yourself if you just throw yourself into the enemy team. So I would say if you're not, like, if you've got doubt in your mind that you can get out alive, just throw yourself into the enemy team or off a cliff to die faster, because at least then you won't be staggered. And that's the more important thing, really. Because if you like, you can end up staggering yourself really bad. You can end up staggering yourself by like 10 seconds. Like, that's terrible to do that. Whereas if you throw yourself into the enemy team and you feed like 10 ult charge, that can be the difference in the game. But it's unlikely to be. You staggering yourself by 10 seconds is more likely to be the thing that loses you the game than feeding the enemy team slightly more ult charge. So I would say if you're not confident you can get yourself out alive, just throw yourself in the enemy team. It's one of those things that's unlikely, and like, you know, only gold. It's only gold, you know, some people can't get to gold, but like, only gold, it's unlikely the relatively minor difference of, like, giving them 10% ult charge is going to be the game changer. You getting staggered when people are already struggle to, like, group up with each other, that can really easily be the thing that loses you the game. So, it suddenly felt like I swallowed a fucking cactus. Yeah. So, I don't have a hard and fast rule for, like, knowing if you can get out alive or not. I would just say if you're not sure you can, just throw yourself into the enemy team. It's one of those things where it might not be the best solution, but it's unlikely to have catastrophic results. It's like one of the, like, if you play too cautiously, that will unlikely have catastrophic results. It might lead to you not getting as much of an advantage as you could have done, but you won't lead to disaster if you take the overly cautious approach. So that's about the best I got for that one, because there's so many things that lead into, like, whether or not you can get out alive. So hopefully that answers the questions. Let's just start the game. Very far, very far. A little bit of a stutter there, so just suddenly we've teleported like 30 feet in front of us. So this is a good map to play Pharah on. There's quite a lot of geometry to use on Oasis in general. This map as well, quite good. Garden's probably the best one for Pharah, but this map's also pretty good. So they've got a Gongo. Pharah's pretty good at killing Genji. So well, it depends on if the Genji's good or not, but Pharah's better than most, mostly just because the Genji can't really do anything to you. So we're hovering real close to some scary people at this point, and we don't have our boosters right now, so we can't, like, quickly ascend above them. Really, we should just play, like, a little bit more cautiously until we can put some distance above these people. Because, like, we don't want to be right next to a Bridget or a Diva. Reinhardt's also quite close to us. So I would just, like, play a little bit more cautiously during this particular segment while we wait for our boosters, because if we can just jump up, hey, no fear. Diva might come up and harass us, but, like, she's not going to kill us. Whereas if we're hovering right next to these people, it's a lot easier for us to die. So just play, like, wasn't a big difference. It was like the boosters were up in like 3 seconds. Just wait for like a couple seconds and then go up. Just generally a thing with like all heroes is if you have a movement ability, or like a get out of jail free card ability, we'll say, like, if you got, like, you know, ability like recall, cryo freeze, something like that, the boosters, the concussive grenade. If you've got movement abilities or get out of jail free card abilities, if those abilities are on cooldown, you have to play more cautiously until they're off cooldown. If you're like Moira, Fade's on cooldown, you play more cautiously until Fade is off cooldown again. That kind of thing. Pharah's got 2 movement abilities, so you only really need to have one of them up to have, like, some amount of agency. But you gotta play cautiously when they are on cooldown. So, we are Goomba stomping the Genji right now. We didn't need to be quite this low to get him, which would have avoided this situation right here, but it ends up not really mattering. We didn't really need to be nano boosted right now, but hey, whatever, right? We're definitely alive, I guess. So we're trying to stagger the Bridget right now, but she manages to slide away. We were actually calling out to stagger the Bridget as well. But Bridget is one of those heroes that's quite difficult to just kill, so. I'm not even thirsty. It just suddenly feels like I've swallowed a cactus. It's unpleasant, but I'm a moderately professional individual, so we'll keep going. So, here we go for a classic Pharah maneuver. I would have... hold on. I would have gone over the top of this roof, just because right here, we see not that many people. Reinhardt's already gone off over in this direction. So, and they're like kind of fighting in here right now. So I would go over the top of this roof and drop down here, because their backline heroes are going to be hovering like by the doorway back there. So if we go over the roof and then drop down behind them, we'll be right next to all of the priority targets, and we'll be coming up behind them, which is generally harder to react to. Whereas over here, we only really end up killing Bridget. We would have only really been in a position to kill Moira if we did that, but I'd rather kill Moira than Bridget at the same time. If the rest of their team was coming out like a little bit more coordinated, that would... I like the thought, if nothing else. But in that particular situation, I think going over the roof and coming behind them was more likely to get a lot of kills than just like dropping down right on the top of the doorway. Just because they were fighting in this hallway at the same time. Which meant that they weren't going to be following Reinhardt and Bridget as like a collected unit. And I'd rather kill their back line as opposed to their front line. That's just me, though. Some people would be like, oh, fuck. Some people would be like, hey, if you killed the Reinhardt, that's good enough, my dude. But the Reinhardt was doing an admirable job of killing himself, so... Not quite back, but just about back. Here we go. No, this is too far, because Reaper killed us. No, this is right, yeah. Because Reaper killed us, but no, he comes back after this. So we are, like, real far up right now. But it's difficult for their team to punish us for this at the same time, so we can basically, like, we can do whatever, pretty much. Because they don't have, like, a Widowmaker who would be the person who could punish us for doing that kind of maneuver. So we got, like, the effort to try and, like, push Reinhardt right into our team. Got him into our booster. We just hit the roof. We jumped, like, as we died. That's unfortunate. I'm tempted to just say unlucky on this one, really. You know, because I'm kind of like, at the same time, I'm kind of like, we don't really want to be fighting in this confined location, because then we can't really take advantage of the fact that we're playing Pharah. I suppose the thing to say is, like, watch for flankers more, because we were pushing them up, like, quite aggressively. We're pushing into them quite aggressively, so it's more likely for, like, one of the sneaky heroes, like Reaper, to try and come up behind you. So, just, like, check for flankers more is about the best I could say to it, because, like, we were trying to, like, pressure them, and, like, we don't really want to fight in a confined location, but it's not even, like, the most confined location. Maybe just don't try and hover on the ground so much. Just, you know, sometimes you get flanked and killed, you know, sometimes that happens. So, we did try and push their team forward into us, and it didn't really work out. So, we do know they have a McCree. So this kind of maneuver is a little bit riskier, because if we come up like this far and their McCree is like right here and he's paying attention, he can just like flashbang us and kill us for this. So it's kind of a risky maneuver, but their McCree did no such thing, so we get away with it just fine. And a lot of the game is trying to figure out when you can get away with doing shit. So Bridget's really low right now. Their McCree has died, so they have very little to threaten us with right now. I don't think we really need to come all the way over here to get this health kit, because we're pretty healthy at this point, and their major threat to us is dead, which was the McCree. They do still have the Diva, but, like, she's gonna be pretty preoccupied with the rest of the fight that's happening. I'm alright with just calling 130-ish health good at that point. So I don't think we really need to come all the way over here to get the health kit. But at the same time, you know, the slightly more cautious route is unlikely to lead to catastrophic results. It's just, because we were already winning the fight, I would like to stay around to make sure we win the fight, rather than removing ourselves to get the health kit. One of our main healer is Moira, which is, well, no, we've got Moira and Anna, haven't we? So, not quite the ideal healer combos for a Pharah. No Zenyatta, no Mercy. Oh, we have a Bridget as well. We are very healy people, aren't we, right now? And we've got a Winston as our only tank, as I recall. we're a rather difficult to kill team. Oh, McCree's trying to creep up on us. Don't hover, like, right around the doorway after this one, because that McCree right now is like, I almost killed her. I have to get this last hit in on her. So he's gonna immediately go for that fucking grab lift to try and get us. I just ducked down over the wall to, like, get out of line of sight, get healed, then come back up to contest the McCree. Because, like, 65 health, he's only gonna tap us when we die. So, and he's gonna be like, let's fucking get him. That's unfortunate timing. Really, right there. It was, like, right as we pushed the button, wasn't it? There was a little bit of leeway into that one, but, like, basically unlucky. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you push your ult button right as they push their ult button, and their ult button kills you. There was, like, a half-second leeway, but, like, let's be realistic. We don't all have lightning reflexes, so... implying I have lightning reflexes. Sometimes you get unlucky. So, Tracer is dead right now, which is going to make it difficult for us to win a fight. We are down a person. We are trying to kill the McCree right now. He's basically dead. It was a little sketchy. It was a little sketchy, but we got him in the end. So, I would be tempted to just go in the grav lift after him, after that one. Because, and, you know, this is perhaps me being too much of an aggressive player, because, ooh, I do like to go ham. But, I'm like, I've almost killed him. It's gonna be, like, even if we go into the grav lift, the risk is that, like, he stuns us. But it's gonna be difficult for him to line up the shot from the position that he was in, if he does stun us. So I would have just, like, gone in the grav lift after him, to try and get the last hit on him. And, you know, there's a world I get punished for that, but I don't respect the McCree enough, basically, is it. I'm a very aggressive player. I like to hedge on the more aggressive play, usually. So here, I don't think we really knew he was asleep. Did we just, like, appear and shoot it like the first thing we saw? No, we knew he was asleep. Don't shoot at the sleeping person, unless you're, like, confident you can kill him. And Pharah is, like, unless this dude is basically dead, you don't kill him. What's a better play, as a Pharah, is Concussive Blast. Hey, if they're asleep, you got all the time in the world to line that shot up and just, like, deliver the sleeping Reinhardt right into our team. There's a very low chance that we kill the Reinhardt with this shot, unless he's already basically dead. So, and if we can't kill him, like, if you can't kill the person who's asleep, you want to leave them asleep for as long as possible. So, I would say it's better to just Concussive Blast him into our team, and then start trying to kill the rest of his team while he's still asleep, because at the very least, he's out of the fight for 6 seconds. So, a lot of their team are dead. We're trying to kill the Moira right now. We do want to be careful of how close we get, because we're pretty keen to Goomba Stomp them, but there's some scary people to Goomba Stomp, so we have to be careful of that. We've almost got our ult built up, but, like, even if we get to use it at this point, most of our team is dead. So where did this all start going downhill? Because I felt like we were in a pretty good position at the start of this fight, but then it very quickly stopped being a good position for us. Go back a little bit further. I know I've gone back very far at this point. So we lost Bridget right at the start. We don't really want to be focusing the tanks, particularly while we're nano boosted. Because if we can get a direct hit on a squishy target, we kill them really fucking fast. We are trying to bully the Reinhardt to death. Honestly, like, given what our team comp is, I'm not really that concerned about the Reinhardt. While we're nano boosted, I'd rather be trying to find, like, the 200, 250 health heroes and dunking on them instead. Because a nano boosted direct hit rocket, that's basically death for them. That's not actually straight up death, is it, for a 200 health hero? Because it's a 50% death. No, that's not straight up death, but it's basically straight up death for them. So, while we're nano boosted particularly, I'd rather find the squishier heroes rather than try to bully the Reinhardt. I know we do want the Reinhardt dead, but, like, at the same time, are we really that concerned as a team if Reinhardt's still alive? Like, it's hard for him to even get a good Earth Shatter off, because all of these people are going to be so spread out. So I'd rather be trying to dunk on the DPS and the healers rather than trying to, like, bully the tanks more. So we have our ultimate, but I don't think we actually get back in time to use it. McCree's using Deadeye right now, so this is not it's not going to be a good thing for us to go into, is it? She's got her ultimate as well. We didn't have Concussive Blast to get out of the way. You know, we got to go for it to try and touch the point. Life is hard sometimes. You know. So now we've entered the Mei segment of the game. We're playing Mei for the rest of the game now. So this is a pretty good Mei map. There's a lot of places to wall people off and kill them. The Mei ult is better on points that don't have cover. This point doesn't have cover. So if they're like in the middle of the point and we drop the Blizzard on them, what are they going to have to do? Well, they're going to have to get froze if they're in the middle of the point or jump down the pit. Which either way, they're out of the fight. So we didn't quite nail the wall right there. That's unfortunate. So yeah, he's trying to break the wall right now. Do break the wall. Like, we see like, honestly, we should just be trying to fight them in there still at this point. Because our team has, like, committed to this fight regardless. Like, Reinhardt's in there. So, like, we should just break the wall and go in there and start fighting. Because, like, if they're fighting in this confined location, Mei's freeze goes through targets now. Like, right, you can freeze through other people. So if we have, like, a melee breaking out in here, we can be freezing a lot of people in there. And Reinhardt's committed to this fight. So we should go in there and keep trying to fight right here. Bare minimum, yeah, please do break the wall so that the Reinhardt can get out if he needs to. Because the other way out is not exactly a good exit. But we should have just been trying to fight over there. Like, we just left the wall up and, like, called it off. Reinhardt's committed to that fight, and if we fight in a confined location as Mei, hey, great for us. We love when people are right next to us as Mei. Reaper being next to us is a little bit scary, but I mean, it's difficult. Like, he still is not going to one-shot us. So, he can, but he's extremely unlikely to one-shot us. So we're having a bit of an argument to do, like, the guy's telling us to break the wall. The guy was like, break the wall next time, and we're like, tell me to break the wall before you're dead next time. We should have been able to identify that wall was gonna, like, be bad for our team. Because Reinhardt charged into that room, and that was the closest exit for him to get back to our team. The only other exit he would have is all the way back through the objective through the enemy team. So, we should be able to identify that wall could, even if, like, we don't think we can fight in that room, we should still be able to identify that this wall could very easily kill people if this fight doesn't go well in that room. But we should have been, like, more baseline than that. We should have been trying to fight in that room. That's where we want to fight as someone like Mei, a confined location where we can freeze multiple people, ideally. So, we do almost have Blizzard built up already. Reaper's just, McCree rather, is just rolled off the edge, it looks like. Which is a classic McCree maneuver. So we're being quite greedy right now. Because we are, this is the point where I'm like, yeah, time to use Cryo Freeze. Because we've got healers around us, but let's be real, we can't trust anybody but ourselves. And this is true everywhere. Like, this never gets better. You can never fully trust people, right? Like, as soon as you get to 100 health, I'm like, Cryo Freeze. Or is it Cryo Freeze or is it Ice Block? I feel like it might be Ice Block because that also that would also sort of be a reference to World of Warcraft as well. So I feel like it's probably Ice Block. But it might also be Cryo Freeze. Shows you how much Mei I play, doesn't it? I know it's Ice Wall. I know the wall is called Ice Wall, but I don't know I don't know if it's Cryo Freeze or Ice Block. It's one of those two. I feel like it's Ice Block just because that's also then a reference to other Blizzard properties. So, she's not in a good spot. She's not happy about this. She's dead. So I would just chuck the Blizzard onto the point behind them right now, because they've started going forward at this point. So if we throw the Blizzard, like, here-ish, you know, it's probably not going to go exactly there, but, you know, just somewhere in that region. We put the enemy team in a position where there's nowhere great for them to stand, because Reinhardt doesn't want to be here anymore. He wants to start trying to back out, so if we put the Blizzard behind him, his choices are, well, I stay here and fight the rest of their team, or I go backwards into the Blizzard, And if we get it to land, like, right between these two pillars, there's, like, no good place for him to stand because he gets frozen regardless. And then the team behind him are like, well, I want to try and help him, but there's kind of this giant ice in the way, and, like, maybe they get frozen as well, depending on how it goes. We've started to gain the tempo advantage here. We haven't won the fight or lost the fight either way, but we've started to gain an advantage. If we throw the Blizzard at them right now, it's like, we win. 100%. There's like nothing, there's like no good option. I shouldn't say 100%, but there's like no good option for them at that point, so it's unlikely they're gonna win. As we see right here, our team just, like, everybody just died to self-destruct, despite there being about 5,000 things you can use for cover on this map against self-destruct. So, hey, life is difficult sometimes. But I maintain that that was the time to use Blizzard right there, because we just put them in a position where they're like, well, I got, like, no good option for places to stand right now. Their Reinhardt baseline, he's like, I got nowhere to go. Ooh, he's up to no good. After him, he's fucking dead. To be fair, he was trying to teleport in a fair enough location. It's just unfortunate that we found him doing it. So, we've thrown the Blizzard in on the objective. Now we're going to commence bullying D.Va. Mei's very good at bullying D.Va. McCree's using Deadeye right now. He's probably above us, if I had to guess, behind us. So, like, moving out like that was scary, because he's, like, almost certainly in one of those windows, so us, like, going out like that in front of the windows is quite risky, without at least checking where he is. But hey, he's dead now. It's not like he was gonna fucking single-handedly win the fight from that position anyway. They lost that fight. So we're a third of the way to having Blizzard again. Man, Blizzard builds up so fast now, ever since they made the change to, like, Mei's fall-off damage. Blizzard charges so fast. That doesn't even really tie into, like, this particular situation. That's more just a general thing. Like, damn, Blizzard charges fast now that she doesn't have to worry about fall-off damage anymore. They removed it entirely for Mei, right? Am I correct? Or did they just reduce the fall-off damage? I'm pretty sure they completely removed it for Mei. Hold on. I can find this out, can't I? I have the entire culmination of human knowledge at my fingertips right now. And a whole lot of shitposts. Overwatch. Fall off. Damage fall off was autocomplete. Blizzard removes fall off damage. And this was recent, correct? Yes. Blizzard removes fall-off damage from Mei's secondary fire. Am I going to check a second source? No. I'm just going to see the first source and be like, that confirms what I thought it was. So great. That source is correct, because I thought that was correct. Ah, good old, that's how you do it right there. So, quite risky to not use Cryo Freeze right there. There was like, this could have gone badly for us, because like, we're like 100 health. There's a lot of people right there. Anna manages to keep us alive, basically. Like, if that fire strike hit us, we died. So it was fairly greedy, but we got away with it. So you could say it's the exact right amount of greed. So I would wall right here, because if we wall off Moira right now, like if we put the wall, say, right around here, basically at the base of the staircase, Moira is suddenly in a really bad position to be using Coalescence, because the wall's in the way. So her options are, like, go back around, try and hop over the wall, or try and hop around this corner if she wants to try and, like, keep using Coalescence over here. Basically, we put Moira in a position where she's like, fuck, my ultimate is like, this is a bad position to use my ultimate from, suddenly. So, most likely, she'd be like, I gotta go back onto the point. Basically, we'll, like, really fuck up her Coalescence if we use the wall, like, right here. Because suddenly, like, she can't get through another way. The staircase is the only way through. So if we put it in an obstructive enough location, she can't use it how she wants, because she wants to use it on us right now. And Zenyatta ends up using Transcendence for Reaper's ultimate, and we're going to chase down Reaper, so it ends up not really mattering either way, but we could have, like, really fucked up Moira's Coalescence right there, just by walling off the staircase, because then suddenly she has to go all the way around to actually get in a position to use it properly, unless she goes for a really, like, ballsy play to, like, jump around the side, or she would be able to, like, go to the top of the staircase, hop over the wall, and then land on top of the ice wall, but I doubt that she would think of that in the moment. She would most likely just go back to the point. Ooh, this ends up actually being better. Like, I'd rather kill Bridget than Reinhardt in a lot of situations, so, you know, we kind of messed up the wall. We were trying to get the Reinhardt, but hey, we got the support instead, so I'm cool with that. Zenyatta was too far up. What did McCree do after he got Zenyatta right there? McCree stayed on that side. McCree is going around. So McCree is going to come out on the right-hand side right now. Like, he's somewhere, like, right over there. Did he die? He might have died. I wasn't watching the kill feed, if I'm to be perfectly honest with you. All I know is I saw McCree go over this way, and I haven't seen him again. So I'm like, so my thought is, he's hovering here, waiting to use Deadeye. So that's my thought. I want to go deal with that guy, basically. So we hide out of the way and use... Oh, he went around that way. Fuck, he went all the way around, I guess. Yeah. So unless I just didn't see him go by. Entirely possible. Either way, we're still winning the fight. Who cares, right? Didn't get punished, don't have to learn. So, they have to just, like, rush forward and touch the objective right now, which is not going to lead to a good fight for them. Wall off the doorway, they have to try and come around this way. Ooh, close, but we're alive. Moira just tried to ult and then immediately got it cancelled. Tire happened behind us. I would rather wait to see which way they take before we try and wall them off. Because, like, if they try and go through, like, the room on the left, walling the staircase, walling off the main entrance doesn't really do anything. So I would rather wait and see which way they come from. But that's fairly nitpicky by that point. Because, it, like, let's be real, they weren't going to recapture the objective right there. It wasn't going to happen. So now we're on Garden. This is not the greatest map for Mei, but, you know, mostly because the point can kind of be difficult to get a good Blizzard on, but there's still places to wall people off on. And it's still, you know, Blizzard on the objective is never fun for the enemy team. Like, they're never going to be particularly pleased with that. So this is a situation where we're playing really aggressively, low health, and ice block / cryo freeze, whatever the ability is called. Why don't I just look that up? Mei, Overwatch. What is it? Is it ice block or is it cryo? I'm honestly going to be so upset if it's not ice block by this point because I've convinced myself that that's the best name for it. If it is called cryo freeze, it's called ice block now. Either way, but let's find out. It's cryo freeze. No, it's not. No, it's not. Immediately, that's the secondary fact-checking method right there. You either find one source that agrees with what you think, so that's the correct source. If the first source you find is counter to what you believe, fuck it, it's wrong anyway. That's how you do it right there. That's the Fox News approach to the fact-checking right there. I pushed space while I was on the wrong window, so I was terrified the recording just stopped. Nope, it has not. Wonderful. I would be gravely upset if that happened. So we're being too aggressive while ice block is on cooldown and we're low health, which leads to us being punished. And like, we're running into like a bunch of things that could punish us as well. We did freeze her, but we didn't get to kill her. When your get out of jail free card ability is on cooldown, you've got to cooldown get it because it's Mei. Oh, because, you know, cool, cold, cool. Yeah. Some quality humor right there. If it's on cooldown, you gotta play more cautiously until it's off cooldown. So Doomfit, like, he was trying for some bold plays right there, but it didn't really work out in his favor. We've been made purple. Honestly, like, thank goodness. Like, honestly, she just threw that squarely at us rather than trying to actually use it during a team fight. So I'm honestly fine with that, because it's not like we were ever gonna die, right? I don't know why. My stupid monkey brain, right? Here's what my stupid monkey brain just thought right here. My stupid monkey brain was like, yes, if we spray Moira, if we spray Anna, it will heal her. Because in my mind, I'm just like, left click, spray, that heals. No, we're not playing that hero right now. Stupid monkey brain is just like, spray on left click equals heal. No, not quite. Here's what I've wanted from Mei. for a really long time, right? This is a tangent, but hey, we've done most of the work at this point. We're most of the way through the video. I'm allowed to do a tangent now. Doesn't matter if I was allowed or not, I'd do it anyway, because that's who I am as a person. Here's what I've wanted from Mei for a long time, though. I've wanted her to be able to spray the ground underneath her with her left click and make that move her faster as a result. Not by like a huge amount. Just like a little bit faster. By like 10-15%. You know, just like a little bit. Spray under your feet. You know, let her Iceman forward, basically. A little bit faster. I've wanted that for a while, but probably won't happen. Mei's thing is meant to be that she's immobile. So, and she's got, like, surprisingly good vertical mobility because of Icefall. So, like, it's not a change I ever, like, expect to see. But, like, every time I'm playing Mei, I'm just like, please, just, like, a little bit extra speed. Because I do it regardless. I'm just like, please. Every time, like, please, just start skating, please. But no, never. It just seems like such a logical innovation, if you have this kind of ability. But, hey, you know, she's meant to be immobile. Ooh, fucking... Ooh, that's a life flash. My whole life flashed before my eyes. It was really boring situation right there. Fucking Doomfist, like, centimeter away from our face, punched the shit out of that wall. Didn't manage to get the headshot on him, but he died regardless. It's a little bit of a spooky situation. I would just back out at this point, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh. Reaper's gonna go out the right side of that doorway. Or he's gonna try to, at the very least. McCree had a similar thought, though, so he came over to sit at the doorway. I suspect we were only looking at Reaper right here, because I saw the Doomfist coming. Saw him right there. I suspect we were only looking at the Reaper right now, and we got killed by the Doomfist as a result. I saw the Doomfist, but I suspect we were just like tunnel vision on the Reaper at the time. So that's basically an awareness situation. Like, Doomfist's right there. There's a wall right next to me. Very easy for me to die right here. So we've got Blizzard built up. We got one fight left. Well, hopefully Anna doesn't like get herself killed right now. That would be bad. She's alive. So we don't have a lot of time left. We've got Blizzard. We're playing Mei. We can contest the objective for a long time, if nothing else. Here we go. Throw Blizzard down. Oh, shit. Scary as fuck. It's okay, though. I mean, it's not okay, but, you know, ooh, fuck. Hey, you know, honestly, this has gone a lot better than expected. So we do have to be careful of C9ing right now, because we were running after the Reaper. Oh, fuck! We were running after the Reaper. We don't know what our team's doing behind us, so there was a risk we C9. She's like, upset about that one. And we get him as well. Hooray. So, you know, there's a minor risk of C9ing. We were winning the fight, so, you know, unlikely, but running after the point after the Reaper, you know, it's possible our team C9's behind us, and we could have still, like, reached the guy from inside the objective as well. Could have still been shooting at the guy from inside the objective. So, you know, it's one of those things that's like, yeah, unlikely to matter, could have mattered, wouldn't have been a huge adjustment to gameplay to remove that risk. So we're creeping right now. I honestly don't really like creeping as Mei anymore. I was like, you know, it's fair enough to, like, sit next to the choke point and wait to wall somebody off, but ever since they changed their fall-off damage, I do think that, like, you should be actively trying to fire at people as much as possible if you don't have your ultimate. Because, I mean, even if you do, like, the risk of, like, the chances of you picking somebody off just because you get a lucky headshot from really far away is probably still worth it. Like, I think you should be actively trying to shoot at people as much as possible, because you would build up ult charge so fast as Mei now that they removed her fall-off damage. Mei was like, I remember a time before, like, Mei at one point didn't have fall-off damage and they added fall-off damage because it was the most obnoxious shit ever. That, like, she was, like, really good close-up and still good far away as well. And it gives you, like, a fuck ton of ult charge. But people decided Mei was bad, so it didn't really matter. But, like, it's not great. It's very scary. Mei's right click is very scary. So, did pop out a little bit early. No, we still died here regardless. You know, I'm playing it through in my mind. Like, realistically, what do? You'd probably still try and kill the Moira. It's an argument to be made for, like, throwing Blizzard on the ground right there, but I wouldn't have done. I think I'd die the exact same way in this situation. I would have been like, I'm going to get the Moira, but then get dunked on by Pharah, you know. I wanted the Moira dead as well. I don't, like, using Blizzard there would have been fairly counterintuitive. You could argue as to, like, you know, if we lose the fight wasn't exactly going super well, and there's the argument if we lose the fight, we lose the game. So there's that argument, but I think I died the exact same way from that position. I think throwing the ult... Ooh, fuck, that ended suddenly. I think throwing the ult was a counterintuitive play to make from that position. And you definitely do want to still try and kill the Moira. If we went left underneath the ramp, underneath the high ground, then it would have been harder for Pharah to kill us, but she jumps right on top of our fucking head. So, no, I think that just kind of happens, unless you do decide to ult right there, but I wouldn't have decided to ult right there. So such is life, such is life. So, I do like Northern Lion, but, like, chill the fuck out, game. Don't know who this is. It's the kind of thing I would watch. I do like Day 9. I'm a big fan of Day 9. I have no interest in Pokemon. I don't know who this man is. And this is still Northern Lion related. So great job, YouTube algorithm. You've, like, basically nailed it, but, like, calm the fuck down. So, I don't really have, like, a recurring thing to talk about, because we kind of just talked about a bunch of things as time went by. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know, and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us, and I hope you found the video helpful.